Hello everyone and welcome back to another Scrap Sundays. Today I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful floral coaster. So let's get into the tutorial. So the things that you will need for this tutorial are 3 different coloured yarns. So I've got a pink, I've got a white and I've got a yellow. You need quite a bit of the pink because we're doing 2 sides, but you don't need as much of the white or yellow. You will also need a green yarn, only a small amount, I just forgot to mention that in this video. I used a 4mm crochet hook for the whole thing. And you'll also need some scissors and a needle for all of the embroidery work as well at the end. So I'm going to get started, and you're just going to grab your pink yarn and you're going to create a slip knot and attach that to your hook. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do a chain 20. And then once we've got to the end, we're gonna basically now create 20 rows. So we have a square. So we're just gonna chain 1 and then do a single crochet into each of those 20 stitches. And you're going to do this until you've got a total of 20 rows. So once you've finished, you should have this square. And what I love about crochet is if you look really closely, you can kind of see like these little squares which make it perfect for cross stitching. So we're going to basically use those to do this design. So I'm going to grab my white yarn, and I've decided to double up my white yarn all the way through this project. So whenever I'm using my white yarn, it is double threaded. So we have our square here, and if I zoom in, so if I just show you with the needle here, so if you look, you can see that the holes in the thing create kind of like squares, and there's loads of little squares all the way through the piece. So if I show you a bit higher up where it's more clear, you can see that those 4 holes make a square. So you've got like 1, 2, 3 and 4, and if you sew in across into that, it's basically a cross stitch. and that is this whole piece. So if you just use the pattern in the description, you'll be able to follow along, and basically all I'm doing is just counting along the squares and basically cross stitching into those squares. So for this first one, I'm just going to insert my needle into the bottom corner of the square, and I'm going to leave quite a long tail end, and then we're going to find the top diagonal hole. Then we're going to, just for ease, I just pull mine straight through the next one, which will be the bottom, and then up to the top. Basically just normal cross stitch. And there you have a cross stitch. Really simple, really easy. And we're just going to do this now, following the whole pattern. So we're going to insert into the top corner, go to the diagonal bottom corner, and then again from the bottom diagonal to the top. And following the pattern, so this is a flower with 4 petals. So we're just going to do all 4, leaving the yellow center blank. You don't want to fill that in just yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete the rest of the white petals, and I'll come back when I move on to the yellow. So I've finished all of the white petals. I'm now going to grab my yellow yarn, and you're basically going to repeat the exact same process that you did with all of the white. Obviously my yellow yarn is a lot thicker, so I'm not doubling up this yarn, I'm just doing it single, but it's obviously down to what scrap threads that you're using and like the thickness of those, depending on whether you need to double them up or not. But yeah, I'm just going to do the exact same process as before, go into the bottom corner or the top, and just do a cross stitch. And I'm going to do this in the center of all of my petals. So I'm now going to grab my green yarn, and again this one is thinner, so I am going to work double with this, and following the pattern I am just going to add a cross stitch for my green leaves in the right places. So once you have done all of that, this is basically the final piece. I really do love how you can use two different forms and make one. Like, I love how you can use crochet and cross stitch together. So this is what the front looks like, but if you turn it over, it's quite messy, it's quite a mess. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean up all my edges just by knotting them together to secure them a bit further, and then just trimming all of the excess off. But you want to leave a tiny bit, but some of these are really long, so I'm just going to get rid of them. So then once we have cut all of the edges, to make this really nice, we're going to create a back piece to go on top of this. And the back piece is just going to be a simple pink square of just 20 chains, 20 rows. So I'm just going to grab my pink yarn and my hook, and I'm just going to start by chaining 20. I'm then going to chain one and do a single crochet into each of those 20 stitches, and I'm going to repeat that process until I have 20 rows, and I'll come back once I've completed that second square. So this is the second square complete. We're just going to leave this one plain, so you should now have two. You should have your kind of cross stitch embroidered front piece, and then just your plain back piece. So what I'm going to do now is, just to make them more sturdy, I've cut out two pieces of cardboard which are just slightly smaller than the original pieces, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hot glue gun, and I'm just going to glue those cardboard pieces to each of the sides, and then once I've glued them to each of the sides, I'm then going to kind of hot glue in the middle and glue them together, basically. So it'll be just one kind of coaster, and that'll help tidy up your back pieces. So I've now got my two pieces glued together, and we're now going to seal all of those edges so that their two pieces are fully connected with no gaps. So I'm just going to grab my pink yarn again on my hook. You're going to insert your hook through both sides, both pieces. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm just going to do a single crochet into every stitch all the way around the square, so there's like a nice seam around the whole piece. And this is the finished look. I absolutely love how this turned out. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you next Sunday for a brand new episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.